Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is a wonderful, beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I'm so glad you're here. Charles is going to be discussing our year-end guide in order for you to have a successful year-end, and we are excited to be able to present this to you. It is a brand new document from last year. We added some things at your suggestion. So we're very happy that when you see something that would make life easier for you and you share it with us, we do listen. So I'm really, really grateful that we've been able to put this document together. And Charles is going to go through it paragraph by paragraph, page by page. And then following that, and the end of November, we will have the actual checklist to go through with you line by line. So with that, Charles, thank you so much for being the expert in this world and in this field. So take it away, please.
Thank you, Saundra. I have been doing payroll for, I think, maybe 20 years now. And so we always go through different stuff in the year end. It's always a busy time. And we want to just send this out to try and make it easier for not only for ourselves, but for you guys as well, because as busy as we are, we know you guys get thrown things right, left, and center right at the last minute. So here we go with our year-end guide for 2023. And of course, this will also be sent out to you. And it says, dear client, thank you for your business and allowing us to be your payroll partner in 2023. As we close out the year and to ensure a successful year-end process, we are providing valuable resources and references to help guide you through your company's specific needs. Also gives our contact information for any questions. And I'll be going through this to just basically give explanations, a little background data, and also to show you some of the resources we talk about in this guide. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. We have important dates and deadlines. So the 12/15 deadline, that's to return the 2023 year-end checklist. For non-Dash users, you send employee demographic changes to your payroll specialist, which would be me and my associates, schedule year-end bonus and or supplemental payroll runs. So if you want to schedule those, we do have the 15th as the guideline for that. The idea is to keep from having those bonuses and supplemental payroll runs run so close to the end of the year that we run into issues with the funding, the tax liability, things like that. On 12/22, we will be closing at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in observance of Christmas, and then we will also be actually closed on Christmas Day, which is, of course, the 25th. Now, on the 27th, that is a deadline for the last day to submit payroll with a 12/29/2023 check date. If the federal tax liability meets or exceeds $100,000, we require the funds to be wired to guarantee timely deposits. Now, why is that? Why is that and what is that? Well, the federal tax liability is the combined taxes of the federal income tax withholding and the Social Security and Medicare taxes, both employee and employer. If you run a pre-processed register that includes the employer taxes and you add those particular items together, that tells you how much the federal tax liability is, or at least an approximate in terms of pre-processing. But you should be able to see if you're going to be meeting or exceeding $100,000. As to why we would need the funds to be wired, it is because when you reach that threshold, then the tax deposit for those taxes is required the day after the check date. So we would need to get those funds wired to us so that we can make the deposit on time. And for that, for anything with a 12/29 check date, we would need it by 12/27. And of course, when we receive it, we would send you the wire instructions, and then you get us the wire as quickly as possible. So you do want to be on top of things like that. And that's where things like the bonuses at the end of the year or any kind of supplemental stuff comes into question. And then the last one, the one right here, 12/28/2023 deadline, is the last day to submit payroll with a check date of either 12/30 or 12/31 if the federal tax liability is under $100,000. And then I'm scrolling down a little bit more. We see the PayrollCentric is closed in observance of New Year's Day on the 1st, also for Martin Luther King Jr. Day on the 15th of the new year. And then the 31st of January is the deadline for our clients, yourselves, the employers, to provide employees with W-2s. Now, we, of course, will have them provided to you prior to that. We do still send out the hard copies based on your instructions. If you can tell us your instructions when we have the checklist available, how you want them to be sent and all that. We also have it where if you have the employee self-service, where your employees are registered for that, they can obtain them themselves online. And you, of course, can obtain them online when we have them available. We've gone over that where they're available both in the employee information as well as in the document section. So scrolling down a little more, we see the graph, which gives you an idea of where those dates are. And we do recommend that you do mark these dates on your calendar to have at hand, so you give you an idea of how to manage your end of year workload. And of course, there's January. And then we're going on to employee demographic information. Now, this is what we covered a few weeks back in another webinar, where the W-2 edit report. That's the one where you can actually run the report to see all the information that is going to be on the W-2, the employee's addresses, their social securities, information like that. You do want to make sure that all of that is accurate before the end of the year. And a little aside, you would not believe the number of people that I've had called where they've had an employee who's been there for 5 years and the employee did not look at their social security number until then. So it's like going back and having to fix W-2s for that length of time can be a little bit costly. So you do want to make sure that everybody's social security number is correct before the end of the year. Because what we do start doing is we do start doing our year-end process on the first work day after January 1st. That's when we start putting everything together. And if you're a Dash user, it's your responsibility to ensure that all the demographic information is complete and accurate by December 29th, 2023. And that does include also things for like 1099s, the non-unemployment compensation, all that. And here is where you can always contact us, support@payrollcentric.com, or the website, pci-.com. And we have this information right here, which, this graph, the screenshot of where you would go to get the report, W-2 edit report, just run the report. And then we also have the information on how to make sure that this employee has been verified. This is something that has been added into Dash. If you go to the employee section and then the personal and then the compliance, you'll see over here on the right, I get my right and then my left mixed up. Social security number verification. This is where we send information to the government and they send back things like, oh, this name does not match. It could be that, people got married, people got divorced, people changed their name, what have you. And so that will tell you if the information is correct. And the reason this is important is because if you do not provide the correct employee's name and social security number on the form W-2, you may owe a penalty. And I'll bring that up right now. Let me see here. Oh, first off, like I said, this is the YouTube channel where we have our different YouTube videos. I don't see the one on the W-2s, the W-2 edit report here. It would be coming up shortly, but this is where it is. And we do recommend, if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe. But here is the publication that's being referenced in our thing, the reasonable cause, regulations, and requirements for missing and incorrect number, name, or tax IDs, which is for W-2 employees, their social security number. So it has all this, the penalties, and so forth. So it's a good document to look at, to review. And going back to here, and it's that one that's on this link right here, publication 1586. And if you have an employee that has been notified by the Social Security Administration that there's a problem with their social security number or the name, please let us know. If you need a sample letter to provide the employee, you can locate one at the following link. And that would be, let's see here, this right here, the Social Security Administration log into Social Security number verification system. That's where this service is. Now, another thing that's come up is ITINs for aliens. we do not accept them for the purpose of working in the United States. That is an IRS requirement, is that you have to have a social security number to work in the United States. That's a requirement in this country to be able to work. Now, the ITIN is for a different purpose. It's not for working, it's for whatever taxes that an alien is subject to. But in order to work, they need a social security number. And you can identify an ITN because it is a 9-digit number that begins with the number 9. Okay? If you receive something like that, it's not a legitimate social security number. They need to register and receive a social security number in order to work in the United States. Okay, now we get to another thing, scheduled 2023 supplemental year-end or bonus payrolls. That is usually, yes, done at the end of the year. All supplemental year-end or bonus payrolls must be processed by December 28th, 2023. And these are the ones that can increase the liability because this is the year-end bonus. So it may come down to that. Now, there are different things that we need to know when you're doing the supplemental payroll. Now, what can it be done for? You can record all manual checks that have not been reported previously. You can void or reissue paychecks that are processed in 2023. You can report any adjustments for 2023. Okay? So now, these adjustments, though, may require additional charges, possible delinquent payments resulting in penalties, and so forth. And that is when dependent upon when they occurred. If they occurred in a previous quarter, a tax liability was due for that quarter, that can cause additional charges and so forth. But you do want to have it reported before the end of the year. Why? Because then if you report it before the end of the year, you may have penalties, but you will not have W-2s that need to be corrected, right? You report it before the end of the year, and then the W-2s come out correct. And also to report additional wage information for 2023, fringe benefits, third-party sick pay, the 2% shareholders insurance premiums. That's also something you want to have in consideration for people who are 2% shareholders of your companies. And it's an additional benefit that the company pays for their health care premiums. Those you do want to get reported before the end of the year. And again, we have a note here: if federal tax liability meets or exceeds $100,000, please reference the important dates and deadlines section of this document. And then we go further down, we see just a reminder: even when a bonus is processed with your regular payroll, you must indicate to us how you would like the bonus check to be taxed for federal and or state income tax, and if you would like a separate check issued. And for that, I'm going to bring up another resource that we have. If I bring it up here, it's publication 15, where it talks about supplemental wages. Okay? And there are all these links that are all available. I'm looking right now at the actual IRS website where they discuss this. And so they talk about things like bonuses, commissions, overtime pay. Supplemental wages are wage payments to an employee that aren't regular wages. Okay? And when you do them, it makes a difference if you have that on the same check versus a separate check from the regular wages. That covers it right here. Supplemental wages combined with regular wages. If you pay supplemental wages with regular wages but don't specify the amount of each, withhold federal income tax as if the total were a single payment for a regular payroll period. And that can be to the employee or whoever's detriment, because if we report it on a separate check, then we can calculate the taxes differently. We can either use the supplemental rates, which I believe is 25% for federal. I don't know what the state is, and it's different for each state. Or we can put it to where the bonus is as if they get it every year versus every week. So that is a difference. The tax frequency makes a difference. What we can do is we can say that the check is a once a year check or a once every payroll check. And what's the difference? Well, if you have a $250,000 bonus and you tell the IRS that this is what you get every week or every pay period, then the taxes are withheld at a different frequency. If you tell if you have it in the system that's once a year, then it is taxed differently, because the difference is 250,000 every pay period versus 250,000 a year. That can make a distinction. And so let's get back to this. And then reporting additional wages and information on Forms W-2. That's the things like the fringe benefits, meals, lodging, personal use of company car, those kind of things. We have a list right here of them, right? And those also do have to be reported before the end of the year. I scrolled real quickly down so we could get to them so you could see what the examples are. And we do have another page that talks about that. And this is the Employer's Tax Guide to Fringe Benefits. And the link for this is also in the letter that we send out, the guide that we send out. And so going back, these, you see employee stock options, employee discounts, employer provided cell phones, all sorts of items, because it's considered additional compensation. It's not something that the employee has to go out and get. It's being provided by the employer. It's compensation. All right, going back. Manual and voided checks. Yes, we've gone over that. We do want to have any checks that were issued in 2023 to be reported before the end of 2023. Same with a voided. And there's two distinctions here. One, if it is a manual check because, say, a direct deposit was returned, we don't need to have that reported if we have the original check information still in the system, because then that would just be reporting the same information twice. And two, we're talking about the check dates here. If it has a check date in 2023, it is 2023 compensation. If it has a check date in 2024, regardless if the pay period was in 2023, it's a 2024 check date. It's 2024 wages. That's all that the IRS cares about, is when they were paid. And then we have accessing employer W-2 forms or quarterly returns, of course. As I mentioned, there is where you can look it up. If you're the employee, you can find it in employee self-service. It's right there. If you're the employer, you can find it under documents, and then the tax documents, that's going to be for the entire company. But if you're looking for individual ones, we do have a section under the employee, under the payroll history, called tax forms. And you can actually pull up the tax form for the employee right there. So we do have those. And we've covered that, I think, on a couple of other webinars, maybe up on our website, our YouTube channel. Another one, minimum wage increases. Please be aware that several states and municipalities have minimum wage increases going into effect as of January 1st, 2024. A lot of those minimum wage laws now are tied to the inflation rate. So, and there are a number of resources available to find out if your employees are subject to an increase. We have this link, and I'll show you that. We've actually also done that before. It is the minimum wage tracker from the Economic Policy Institute. All right, and I've already clicked on California, but you do have others like Oregon, Washington, or what have you. And California is $1,550 right now. It is going to go up, I'm most certain, at the end of the year. But we also have like Los Angeles County. The city of Los Angeles. That one went up to $1,678 as of July 1st. If I click on California again to bring up the list, we also have Los Angeles County. That went up to $1,690 July 1st of this year. And you have these other municipalities, Hayward, Fremont, Los Altos, San Mateo, Santa Monica. Santa Monica you might want to be concerned with. That is $1,690 as well. Now, what's the difference between Los Angeles and Los Angeles County? Los Angeles County is for those unincorporated areas within the county itself. If it is a corporated city, it's not subject to the county minimum wage. If it is unincorporated area, it is. How do you find that out? There's a few ways. We do have this form where you can go to lavote.gov. You go to the registration of voters, and you can actually find, by following these instructions, where it shows unincorporated communities. If the list shows an unincorporated community, your workplace falls within an unincorporated area. So you can look it up that way. Another way that I've used is Wikipedia itself. For instance, Ladera Heights right here, that is an unincorporated area in Los Angeles County, Florida, California. It says it right there. And I went back to one. Culver City is a city in Los Angeles. And if we scroll down, we see that it was officially incorporated on September 20th, 1917. Now, is this an official page? No, this is Wikipedia. And while I can't foresee why someone would change this particular information when a location was incorporated or not incorporated, it is possible that this can be edited by somebody. Whereas going to lavote.org, that is lavote.gov, sorry, that is an official government resource. So you can use both, you can use one or the other, it's up to you, but you do want to make sure though that the information is accurate in order to determine if you fall under LA County or LA, the city of. And then let's see, there's just one more section, I think, where we talk about things. And yes, it does say that the California rate will be $16 an hour, but if you're in the city of Los Angeles or in the county or in some other cities in the area, it may be higher. The other thing that you want to do is you want to send us IRS depository letters and SUI rate letters. Now, what are those? The depository letter is a letter from the IRS that tells you what your tax deposit frequency should be for the year. It can be semi-weekly, monthly, quarterly. There's even annually, but that's for people who use the 944, and the income level, the business income level for that is lower than what is for the 941. So you don't see a lot at this level. But you will be receiving one, and you should forward that to us right away so that we can make sure that you're set up correctly for the deposit frequency. And then the other item is the state unemployment rate letters. These are the ones that tell you what your state unemployment rate will be for 2024. It does change annually. There are a couple of states like New Jersey that change them in July, but the rest of them change it at the beginning of the new year. And so those you do want to forward to us. We have the email that you would forward it to us. You just take a copy of it, scan it, and send it to us, and we take care of it. And so if you're wondering what those look like, I have an example right here. This is the one for California. Now, this is a sample, so of course they have the year wrong, but what you will see is it will say the period of January 1st, 2024 to December 2024. Obviously, this is a sample from the internet, but this is what it looks like. Now, I do have a sample that looks slightly different. That's the state of Texas, and it looks differently. It has a bunch of rates in there. You don't need to worry about what those all mean. You just need to get this to us as soon as you receive it. And again, you can tell what it is because it's going to be Texas. It's going to just have the effective date on it, and it's going to be from the department that handles unemployment in that state. And that is all. Any questions?
We do have one. Thank you, Charla. Would you please go to ESS and show our people where the employee can opt in to receive electronic W-2s?
And what this is about is if your employees can still go on to ESS and pull up the copy of the W-2 from there. That's fine. And they can still receive a hard copy. What we're talking about is where they elect not to receive a hard copy at all. And the thing is, the employee has to authorize the stopping of receiving a hard copy. That's the rule. But that doesn't keep them from looking it up online. It just is the difference between whether or not they get one in the mail.
All right. What we see here is our demo page. And as the employee administrator, you have also the ability to see who has and who has not selected the electronic voucher, meaning the electronic notification that they have a pay stub, and the electronic ability to see their W-2s. And the reason for your ability to do that is somebody might say, I checked and it didn't come to me, but you'll be able to see whether or not they have in fact checked. We can see that Kelly has checked, but maybe Johnny has not. So what they'll do is they'll go into their ESS account, there is a place, and like Charles, I only have my personal one, and I don't want to do that online, but they will have a place where they can elect electronic vouchers and elect W-2s, but they need to do this pretty soon, because once the W-2s are prepared, there's no longer that option to get it electronically until next year. So that's one of the caveats with the ESS program, is that you've got to make your selections sooner rather than later. If you would like your employees to do that, send out an email to those who are registered. And this is also a good opportunity to encourage registration of people who have not yet registered. If you need a new flyer that you email to your people, please let us know, and we'll send you a flyer that will give them the opportunity to register if they just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's a good reminder. And that should be done like this month for sure, because once W-2s are uploaded, there's no longer that option to do it for 2023. They'd have to wait to 2024. Does that answer your question, Charla? Yes, no, maybe.
Sorry,
no?
it does. It does.
Okay.
I found that on the admin portion. So now I'm just going to have to figure out where they need to go in their ESS.
It's not hard.
Kind of the same. It's kind of the same. We've made it really easy in the ESS.
Okay.
They would go. They have some of the same options as you. They
Okay.
would click on pay history and then tax forms. And I'm looking at my own. I can't share that obviously because
Right.
it's personal information. I don't want that going out on the internet. But it does have right at the top of it, W-2/1099 forms, authorization to receive electronically, and it's just click on a button to enroll.
Okay. So you said that was under pay history?
It's in ESS, it's under pay history, and then the submenu is tax forms, which is kind of like where you go on the employee to pull up their old W-2s.
Okay.
So it's just the same sections.
Awesome.
And there's two buttons there. They can view tax forms. They don't have to enroll in order to view it. That's key. They don't have to enroll in order to view it. But if they enroll, then they will no longer receive hard copies.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
And the other thing too, I'm sharing my screen once again. When you go on your home page, I'm talking about clicking on home in the blue ribbon. There in the gray ribbon is a line called links. And many of our clients don't realize that this is here. What this tab is for is we have uploaded how to view your W-2 in ESS, how to calculate a manual check, that's for you, how to enroll in ESS, that's here, and it's a very quick little 5-minute video that shows your employees how to enroll. So when and if you want the flyer to send out, because it's deep in your inbox, right? If you want that, we'll send you that, and you can include these ESS links in your email to your employees, and it's step by step on how to get these things accomplished and how to view the things they want to review. There's also a place of how do you reprint an employee W-2. I believe that's for the employer, but because you might have to reprint it at one point. I haven't looked at that one in particular, but these are very helpful links. And if there's something on here that you said, you guys talked about manual checks at one point, and I don't have that manual check link, would you please add it to my account? We definitely can do that for you. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. I see that there's something else in the chat. So let's see what that is. That's a thank you. All right. I love it. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate your comments. Thank you.
And as you can see on your screen, we thank you too.
Right. We do.